All of today's recipes are made in the air fryer. And sometimes you don't always know how to use it. So I'm here to bring you some new ideas. Hey y'all, I'm Valerie and welcome to my kitchen. Today I have 5 air fryer recipes that I'm so excited to share with you. Okay y'all, let's get started. I wanted to show you first, I have the Power XL air fryer cooker. We love it, but until now I've only used it for like chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, French fries, stuff like that. It comes with 3 adjustable racks, which is very nice because you can do a lot of things at one time. It also comes with a rotisserie basket, which I use all the time for air fried diced potatoes. I love salmon patties and I had to try them in the air fryer. In a medium-sized bowl, I added 1 can of salmon, and I did remove the skin and all the little tiny bones I could find in there. And I think that was about a 15-ounce can. After you get that in there, you're going to add 1 large beaten egg, followed by 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and use whichever one you like. Then you're going to add some breadcrumbs. The recipe called for 1/4 cup of the panko kind. I just used the regular kind, but mine were seasoned with garlic and herb. It can't hurt anything, just add a little extra flavor. And for the seasonings, I did 1/2 teaspoon of dill, 1/4 teaspoon each of onion powder and garlic powder, and instead of the salt, I did about 1/2 teaspoon of the lemon pepper seasoning. Now you're just going to break that salmon up and mix it until it's well combined. I have got to tell y'all a story. My Mima was over this day, and I was following this recipe to a T. It said to patty these salmon patties out into 4 patties, and she just could not believe that I was only getting 4 from that 1 can of salmon. She said she used to could feed 6 people for dinner with only using 1 can of salmon. It's crazy how far you can stretch things when you really need to. Okay, I pattied those out and laid them on the rack, and I did use one of those air fryer parchment liners. I love them because I'm sure these things would have stuck if I didn't use them. I slid those on the middle rack, and I set it to cook at 390 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. You'll know they're done when they turn a good golden brown color. They're done now, and they took about 12 minutes, and things cook a lot quicker. In case you didn't know, they cook a lot quicker in the air fryer, which is a bonus, but you can also do these in the oven. But if you have an air fryer, I highly suggest giving these a try. I gave them a 10 out of 10. That flavor was amazing. And they were a whole lot healthier this way versus frying them. I'll definitely be making these again, only next time I'll have to triple that recipe. I already had something for us in the crock pot for dinner on this night, so this was a little snack for us, but they were gone in 5 minutes. I'm not even kidding. I just had a little tartar sauce to dip them in, but you could serve these with corn and hush puppies. You could also serve them with a side salad, chips, or even a pasta salad. They were so good. I seen these pecan crusted chicken tenders, and I knew my family would love them. I wanted to show y'all things don't always turn out like they're supposed to, and things don't always go as planned. The recipe said to mix the mayo and mustard, then it said to add the chicken tenders right on into that sauce and stir it up in the bowl there. Then it said to add in the breadcrumbs and the pecans and the Parmesan cheese, and it said to stir it all together, but these looked like a mess. So I just tried to trust the process though. I placed them on that little sheet of parchment paper. By the way, most of that coating got left in the bowl there. But I went on ahead and tossed them in the air fryer just to see how they would turn out. What drew me to this recipe was the pecan coating, and it didn't hardly have any of that on there. So I decided to redo them. You never know until you try, you know? I grabbed me another bowl, and I had 1 very large chicken breast. I cut it into 8 tenders, then I seasoned them with salt and pepper. Then I added in about 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, which is only half of what the recipe called for. Then 1 tablespoon of mustard. And you're going to stir those around until all those chicken tenders are completely covered in that mixture. Now we're going to make the pecan coating that we're going to dip these in. To a separate bowl, I added about 1/2 cup of finely chopped pecans. I just blitzed them in my little blender there. I also did 1/2 cup of crushed pork rinds. You can do 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs instead, but I had these fresh pork rinds my husband had picked up from a produce stand on the side of the road, and these things are the best. Way better than what you get in the grocery store. Next, you're going to add 1/4 cup of finely grated Parmesan cheese. I have the chicken tenders here that are covered in that mayo and mustard. I decided to add a little salt and pepper to that coating mixture. And you're just going to give it a little stir till it's combined. Then I'm going to take each chicken tender one at a time and roll it in that coating. I found that this worked way better than mixing it all up together. When you mix it all up at one time, that coating just does not stick. And I wanted some pecans on my pecan crusted chicken tenders. You feel me? After you get that one done, you're going to transfer it to the parchment paper. Then you'll continue until you've used up all your tenders. I was trying to be clean with this process, but I ended up just getting in there with my hands. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out. It lets me know you want to see more videos like this. Here they are, all completely covered, and you can really tell here how much better that coating stuck to those tenders. I popped these in the air fryer and I let them cook at 375 for 8 to 10 minutes, or however long it takes for that chicken to be completely cooked through. I was so happy that I tried these again. They came out nice and golden brown. I have to say though, they weren't quite as crispy as they would have been if you would have deep fried them, but a whole lot healthier. And anytime you're frying anything, if you're like me, you have grease splattered everywhere. So this kept my kitchen a whole lot cleaner. These were amazing. I loved them. All the flavors came together perfect. We all loved them. These chicken chimichangas were absolutely delicious. I'm going to start out by making a white sauce for these, because it'll be going inside the chimichanga. In a medium-sized saucepan, I added 1/4 cup of butter. Then I added in 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I gave that a really good whisk until all the lumps are gone. I let it cook for about a minute or two to cook that flour taste out. Then you're going to pour in a total of 2 cups of chicken broth. You'll want to add a little and then whisk until smooth, and then add a little more and then whisk until smooth until you've used up all the chicken broth. That just helps to make sure all the lumps are gone. I brought that mixture to a boil, then added in 1/2 cup of sour cream, followed by 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. And I did break that up with a whisk a little bit, just to make sure it got completely melted. If your cream cheese is too cold, it'll take a lot longer for it to get combined. Next, I'm adding in a 4-ounce can of green chilies, and I did drain that. Also, 1 teaspoon of sriracha. I didn't have that, so I used 1/2 teaspoon of Frank's hot sauce. But if you don't want it spicy or you don't have the sriracha, you can actually just totally leave that out. I also added some salt and pepper to taste. After it gets to boiling real good, you can turn the heat off and head over to the counter with it so we can put together these chimichangas. And trust me, that white sauce is what takes these to the next level. Okay, for the chimichanga mixture, in a large bowl, I added 4 ounces of softened cream cheese, along with a 4-ounce can of green chilies drained. I sprinkled in 1 packet of taco seasoning. And if you're worried about the sodium, they do make some lower sodium taco seasoning. And now you're going to add in 1.5 cups of cooked shredded chicken. And if you have a rotisserie, that's even better. And I gave that a really good stir before I added in the cheese. And that was 1.5 cups of shredded cheese. The recipe called for Mexican blend, but I used a combination of cheddar and mozzarella, just because that's what I had on hand. Get that mixture good and combined, and then we're going to add them to the tortillas. You can use 4 large tortillas, or I had the medium ones, so I ended up using 8. And to soften these up a little, I wrapped them in a damp paper towel and microwaved them for about 30 seconds. You're just going to lay you down a flour tortilla. I did these one at a time. I wanted to add a little extra to mine, so I spread on a little bit of refried beans. You don't have to add this, but I just thought that they would be delicious with this. And I just did a very thin layer. Then on top of that, you're going to add some of that chicken filling. And y'all, I'm terrible about overfilling things. I put so much in it and then I can't roll it up. So I tried to hold back a little, but I still think I added a tiny bit too much. But you can always take a little bit of that out, especially if you're having a hard time rolling it up. And I don't do the best at this, but I kind of just roll it halfway and then fold the ends in and then finish rolling it up. But when you do it, try to keep it as tight as possible. Okay, I got that first one done. Now I'm going to continue with the rest. And the kids decided that they did not want the refried bean mixture in theirs, so I did 4 with and 4 without. And while I'm thinking about it, if you're new, I would really love to have you here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. That way you get notified of all my future videos. Okay, you have a couple options here. You can bake them in the oven at 400 for 20 to 25 minutes, or you can do like me and make them in the air fryer. I placed 4 on each rack and I set it to cook at 400 for 9 minutes. Now I went ahead and tossed those first 4 in the air fryer. Then I got the second 4 ready, and as I was putting those in, I remembered I forgot to brush them with butter. And I couldn't skip that part. So I got them back out, melted down a couple tablespoons of butter, brushed them all over those chimichangas, then I put them back in the air fryer. And I did flip them halfway through, and I made sure to brush that other side halfway through with that butter again. Now if you want, you can just spray them with cooking oil, but I thought the butter would be even better. And now they're going back in the air fryer at 400 for 9 minutes. These came out nice and crispy. They were perfect. And don't forget to flip them halfway through, just so they get crispy all the way around. After I got these all plated up, I took that Mexican white sauce we made up earlier and I poured it all over the top. That stuff is delicious. And I served these alongside some Spanish rice and avocado. These turned out absolutely amazing. I'm so glad I tried them. So if you're in the mood for some chimichangas, save a trip to the restaurant, save a few extra dollars, and make them at home. I've seen these garlic butter steak bites on TikTok, and they are a must try. In a medium-sized bowl, I added in 1 pound. You can also do 1.5 pounds of sirloin steak. I did cut mine into bite-sized pieces. Then I seasoned it with half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a little of this Kinder's buttery steakhouse seasoning. It's delicious, by the way. I also added 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Now you're going to toss this all around, give it a really good stir until all that steak is covered evenly in that seasoning. I grabbed 1 rack from the air fryer, and I am using one of those parchment liners. Then I placed all those steak bites on there into one single layer. Now I'm placing these in the air fryer to cook at 400 degrees for about 5 minutes. You want to make sure you don't overcook these. When we take them out, we are going to put them in the skillet on the stove top with a good butter sauce, so they will continue to cook there, so just keep that in mind. So y'all have to let me know what your favorite thing is to make in your air fryer. Lacey loves steak, so this is her new favorite. Okay, while those are cooking, and they don't take long, we're going to go ahead and make up the butter sauce. In a small saucepan, I added 3 tablespoons of salted butter. To that, I added about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. You're going to stir that around for about 30 seconds or so, just until that garlic becomes fragrant. I let it come to a simmer, and as soon as those steak bites were done, I added them right on into the butter sauce there. I tossed them around until all that steak was covered in that butter. Oh, and I forgot the parsley. The recipe called for 1 tablespoon of parsley, so I had to go ahead and add it in here. I'm not sure how much parsley changes the taste, but it made it look pretty. Alright, that is all there is to these. They are ready to serve. I placed these all on one plate, mostly for picture purposes, but we all stood here and sampled them and we gobbled them right on up. They were so good. So if you've seen them already and just hadn't gotten around to trying them, this is me telling you, you have to try these. They are amazing. If you love salmon patties like I do, and maybe you're trying to cut back on your carbs a little, you gotta try these. I started out with a 15-ounce can of salmon. I did get rid of all the skin and all the bones that I could, and I placed that salmon into a large bowl. The bones are not going to hurt you, but I just like to get as many of those out as I can. I decided to mash this up with my meat chopper here, and it really did a great job. So use whatever you can find to really get in there and mash that up. Next, you're going to add in 1/3 cup of mayonnaise. And then you're going to add in 1 cup of crushed pork rinds. And make sure you measure out 1 cup after you crush them. I also added 1 large beaten egg. The recipe called for 2 tablespoons of diced onion. I left that out and just did a little onion powder. The recipe called for 1½ teaspoons of salt. I highly suggest cutting that back to only about ½ teaspoon of salt or even less. And I did ½ teaspoon of smoked paprika and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. You're going to mix until combined. I grabbed that air fryer rack, and this recipe said to shape them into 6 even-sized salmon patties, but I just went with 4. And mine held together just fine, but if you want to and you're worried about them holding together since they're low carb, you can do them into 6 even-sized patties. Hey, they may turn out even better. Okay, after you get them all on there, they're going in the air fryer at 390 for 10 to 12 minutes. And I like to flip mine halfway through just to make sure they get nice and golden brown on both sides. These were absolutely delicious. So definitely, if you're trying to cut back on your carbs a little, you have got to try these. They are so good. And I'm pretty sure it's one of my new favorite recipes. You'll have to let me know below what kind of recipes you want to see more of. I have some really good videos coming soon, so be sure to be on the lookout. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You may also like these. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more easy recipes, and I will see you in the next one. Jeez. And done. Okay.